She traveled the world. She had lived abroad herself, but there was no way her only son was going to be marrying this skin. All right. So more than anything, I want to say she was a colorist, because it wasn't even the fact that I was black. It was the fact that I was dark. I'm Phoenix Novell, and I'm a singer, songwriter, rapper, producer, entrepreneur.
No question, no lies, I'm a boss bitch. And it got, I'm a grind till my heart quits. Is she hungry for the money? Is she all in? Is she no slave? And she gonna win. Big bands to the side, ain't no losses. Stack bands, no ties, except for my kid. Only thing that's on her mind is to be.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Phoenix Novell, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Musicians on Gigs. I am Pink. Hear me roar. This video is called Racism as a Touring Musician. Now, I gotta be honest, guys. You know, I've been performing internationally since 2008. And only really stopped, for a lengthy period of time since the pandemic of 2020. So I have extensive experience traveling the world and meshing with different cultures and living amongst foreigners, having to navigate as I traveled to different parts of the world, not speaking the same language, not understanding the culture, not being a part of that society. And I gotta tell you, in all of my years of doing this, all of my years of experiencing different cultures, different religions, different races and ethnicities, I have never once experienced racism. I'm proud to say that. I'm very proud to say that. I know artists who have, and I could only imagine the way that they must have felt in those moments. But I couldn't take it on, and I didn't want to pretend to you guys that I had the experience, because I didn't. One of the main reasons why I think I never experienced something like that, you know what, as I say this, I realize that I just told a lie. I just told a lie. And I'm gonna have to clarify, only because my main point was more so geared towards just people who don't know me, you know what I'm saying? People who see me and just their initial reaction to me, or more so in a setting of work, or not necessarily personal. But I did experience racism. And so I'm going to put that out there. But I want to focus more of my attention onto the fact that I did not experience it for a majority of my time over there. But I'll say this. I was dating a Thai Chinese guy whose mother was flat out racist. And I don't want to minimize this, because it was, of course, devastating. I loved this man. We were engaged. And I really thought that, this was going to be the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with, only to meet his mother, who was an English teacher. She could speak English like this. She was well educated. She traveled the world. She had lived abroad herself, but there was no way her only son was going to be marrying this skin. All right. So more than anything, I want to say she was a colorist, because it wasn't even the fact that I was black. It was the fact that I was dark. And a lot of people are colorists more than they are racists, because they'll be colorist towards their own people. If their own people are dark, you know what I'm saying? You'll have dark skin ties versus lighter skin ties. That's just the truth. So I've seen the same thing, amongst people of the same culture and race towards each other. So I guess I can separate those two. She was very colorist towards me, and her son wasn't having any of it. So thank you. We have separated since, but Thank you for sticking up with me. You know you are. But anyway, I didn't experience it on the grand scale. And I want to say, it wasn't like I went over there with the expectation to experience it. I didn't go over there with this idea in my mind. I'm a Sag. You know, I've always wanted to travel. I've never been afraid of out there, the other. I've said this before in a video, that I felt more at home being abroad than I ever felt in my home country. I don't know why. It is what it is. And I never had a problem integrating with other cultures. I respected them. And it was a learning experience for me to learn how to speak their language or sing songs in their native language, or to understand or try their food or understand their religious beliefs. I just always looked at it as an educational experience, as a privilege. And I'm grateful to say that not every experience was pleasant in the sense of, okay, maybe, you know, this particular race or religion, or the particular culture of this group of people, maybe they weren't very friendly towards the women, or maybe they were more aggressive, you know, or less this, or maybe they had different ways of living. But I can't say that I was affected or they treated me a certain type of way because of my race, you know. And it's happened. It's a possibility. A lot of artists do experience this. I'll say more than anything, what I experienced was how powerful the US passport is. That's just real talk. You know what I'm saying? Being able to travel to a different country, being an American, you're expected to, because you're traveling just for leisure, whatever, you don't necessarily work there, they're expecting you to have money. Your color is less of it. It's almost like it's not even in the equation. It's like, if you can afford to travel to my country, if you can come here, first of all, right? Just because you booked a flight ticket and want to come, and maybe you have to apply for a visa, but you get it, already they're looking at you like you got status, regardless of the color of your skin. And that's another thing that I noticed. You have a lot of countries who can't travel to other countries. It's just not allowed, you know? And as an artist, to be there, as a musician, first and foremost, you're already being looked at like a celebrity in a sense, you know. I don't want to say, because I don't want to seem like it's like, oh my God, it's just you, but it is to a lot of people. You are traveling, and yeah, I'm there to work, but I'm not there to work like a school teacher, you know. I'm not there to work like a corporate kind of job, if you will, which automatically, because of the idea that people have in their mind of artists, that we're just getting paid to play, you know, there's already a different way that you're being looked at, if that makes any sense. But like I said, there was more of a reaction to me being an American citizen traveling to their country where they want me to spend my American dollars versus what color my skin was, you know? And it makes you think like, wow, the impression that America has on the rest of the world. That's why, you know, when you grow up, you're not really taught about everywhere else in the world. You're taught about everything that's happening in America. I'm laughing because when I went over there, I remember I was in China specifically. There was a table of guys drinking, and I remember them saying, China #1, you know, and I was, yeah, that's what you should say about your country, right? That's how you feel. But I remember one of them made eye contact with me and was like, oh, sorry. And I'm like, sorry for what? Like, I am in your country. Like, you know, you should be proud of that. But there is this idea that America is just this behemoth. And yeah, for a long time, that's been the case. And the American passport still has that weight to it where it's like, okay, you can damn near go anywhere you want in the world. Yeah, you know, it's a powerful thing. And I wanted to be transparent and honest about my experience. And I don't wish I could say like, oh yeah, I was attacked, just to make this video more interesting. I don't want to be fake and lie about it. I never encountered it. If anything, I encountered briefly in Thailand colorism. Okay, I keep doing it because it was so, and I say it because I know what it is. It was plain as day towards their own people, towards anybody that was dark, And it's sad, but there was a class thing, like, okay, if you worked in the fields or worked on the farm, your skin got darker because you were under the sun all day. And so now, if you got to work out there, you're lower class. But it wasn't being black, because it was more so about what you looked like than who you were and your culture, where you came from. And I experienced, for the most part, pleasantness, If you're traveling in their country, more than half of the places I was, just assumed that you had money to travel, and they treated you like you were a dollar bill, But it wasn't based on my race. It wasn't based on, I never got denied entry somewhere because of what I looked like or my race. I was never called outside my name. I was never called, a nigga or anything like that. I was never talked down to or treated like I was not a human. I never experienced it. And I'm so grateful to say that because, again, I know artists who have, I know more than anything, male artists who have, and it was almost like when I heard about it, I didn't even know what to say because I couldn't relate to it, and I wanted the artist who was, who shared it with me to feel like, okay, listen, you can't get, because you can experience that anywhere. You can experience it in your own hometown, home country. But I wanted to allow him to know, listen, they don't know you personally. Maybe it's their misconception of what they saw or what they think or what they were taught. But get out of your own way, get out of your feelings about it or whatever, and understand that the effect that it has on you is based on the effect that you allow it to have on you. But he was distraught, And my advice to any artist who is experiencing racism or has experienced racism abroad is to, first of all, assess the situation. If you're in harm's way, get the hell out wherever you are. Get the hell out. The faster, the sooner, the better. Okay? Now, if you're out amongst a bunch of people who have never seen a black person up close and personal, or maybe you're not black, maybe you're of another ethnicity, another race, and they don't encounter you on a regular basis, make sure it's not just like, because sometimes they're just staring at you, But the ones who yell or tell you to get the hell out of the country, stuff like that, you need to remove yourself because you are in a foreign place. So even though you might want to give that same energy back to them, you gotta understand, some of them don't just fight one-on-one. All right? Some of them fight in gangs, and you are the foreigner, okay? It's you amongst all these people. And some of them don't even speak your language. So you can sit there and try to talk and be logical or reasonable or trying to give them rational, like make sense of it. Don't waste your time or your energy. Get out of dangerous situations and take yourself back to where you feel safe or amongst the people that you came with or whatever, because you don't know this place, okay? Don't try to bring all of your logic into a situation that you just don't know how, you don't get it, you don't understand. And some people, you don't know all the time what their motivations are. So even if you might have all this wisdom in the world to try to educate them, don't waste your breath, because sometimes because you're from America or because you're black or because you're this or you represent what they've been taught is wrong, maybe they want to use you as the example, and wail on you or rob you or beat you down or whatever. And for what? Right? For what? So avoid as much as possible anything that is unpleasant when it comes to racism, colorism, anything like that abroad, that you could just get out of that, just get out of the environment. Remove yourself from the situation. Now, you can also encounter it at work. And when you do encounter it at work, it's a little bit more tricky, because if you're there working legally, as you should be, then you have to figure out how you can get out of that contract, how you can, get them to still pay for you to go back to, your home country, and whereas though they don't try to sue you. Like, you have to figure out in the most diplomatic way how to make your exit, because remaining in a situation like that, that's toxic like that, is not going to be conducive to your well-being. It's just not. Again, I'm not speaking as somebody who experienced this firsthand. I've had people not like me, or I didn't like my, the person in charge of the gig or whatever. But like I said, I never got the feeling that it was racially motivated. If you do, and if they're saying something about your complexion or saying something about your culture or making you feel like you are a problem for being who and what you are, then like I said, figure out, talk to if you have an agent, if you can talk to anybody, to express, even if you, maybe you don't even want to be direct about it and say, yeah, I've experienced this. Maybe you want to say, I have a family emergency and I got to go, whatever it is, figure out, connect with your source of strength, your SOS, I say, connect with your SOS and figure out different ways to approach the situation. Because sometimes we're emotionally invested and everything's heightened and we want to, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to us. We're not thinking with the most rationally when we encounter something like that. When my ex's mom was colorist towards me, I couldn't believe it. It was a little funny because I couldn't believe it, and she was trying in the most diplomatic way to be colorist. But it's not funny, and it was definitely, he was distraught. He was more so embarrassed for her than he was, just angry about the situation. And I saw it in his eyes. He was embarrassed for her. He couldn't believe that his own mother was like that towards somebody he loved and wanted to be with. But she just was not afraid to say it. She laughed. First time she saw me when I walked in, she laughed. And at first I was just like, oh my God, how do I react, So again, some people hopefully, some people experience it, but hopefully very little people experience this, because it's a sad thing to not be able to travel. It's a sad thing to not be able to explore because you're afraid to encounter somebody's ignorance. But it can be the thing that deters you from getting to know another culture or educating yourself on what it's really like to travel. There are so many amazing things about that part of gigging the globe, if you will. It's getting to know how other people live, how their mind works, what their day looks like, what's important to them, what they eat, how they feel, their connection to the earth and each other. And if you're just in this bubble all the time because of something that happened, or you're so afraid because you think the world is one big war outside of USA, you are absolutely, absolutely wrong. And I'm so blessed to have never had anything that deterred me from, and look, you will get, what I did learn is that men are men. Whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're Spanish, whether they're Japanese, whether they're Chinese, men are men. And I'm gonna just leave it as that. Okay? So hopefully this helped you guys. Hopefully internationally touring musicians can just see it all, can experience it all, and take pictures and ensconce themselves in so much of the world beyond their native birthplace, because there's so much beautiful things to see. And more often than not, I was received in such a pleasant way by these other races and other groups of people that I have these memories that I will hold on to for as long as I'm here, that if I never went, I would never think that way, because of the wars you see on TV and televised, because of all the stuff that you see going on outside of USA. Sometimes it can make you feel like it's not safe. But I had an epic experience, and I want to continue to do the same. And I want other artists to not be deterred by the horror stories or the sad stories, because they're very few and far in between. Okay? All right, so guys, if you have any topic ideas, any questions, any thoughts, or just want to hit a sister up, email me at musiciansongigs@gmail.com. musiciansongigs@gmail.com. And hopefully you'll tune in to the next episode. Once again, it's your girl, Phoenix Novell. Take care, guys, and Live your life on purpose. Peace.